Hi, good morning. Am I audible? Yeah, thank you. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, How to Add IP Cameras and Intercom to iNELS application. My name is Jeevak Mathew Varughese, and I'm the technical support at Elko EP. Today's webinar will run for about 30 minutes with 20 minutes of presentation and 10 minutes for the questions at the end. So please submit your questions using the chat feature as they come to your mind. But keep in mind that we will be waiting to answer all the questions at the end of this webinar. This webinar is being recorded, so even if you want to leave early, you will have this at the end of this webinar. So, as I mentioned before, the main agenda of this webinar is to show you how to add iNELS IP cameras and intercom to the iNELS mobile application. So the webinar is focused mainly to the system integrators. So they play the main role in adding IP cameras or intercoms or doing the third-party system integrations. So this will be mostly helpful for them. Okay, now let's get started. First, we will talk about how to add IP cameras. So as you know, in the iNELS application, if you go to accounts and third-party settings, you can see that you can add IP cameras directly to the iNELS application. So there are several parameters you need to know before you adding the IP cameras to the iNELS application. So basically, all the IP cameras which has this IP streaming can be added to the iNELS application. If the cameras are connected in the local network, then the application should also be in the local network, and you can add the cameras using the IP address if everything in the same network. In recently, in the recent update in the iNELS application, we have added local or public IP feature also. So in that case, you can also view these cameras from the outside network if you have added the port forwarding in your router. Yeah. So while adding the IP cameras, you have to be sure that the streaming protocol. Yeah. So the mainly streaming protocols supported by our iNELS application are OnWIF, MJPEG, RTSP stream, or the Hikvision protocols. So make sure that your cameras are enabled to use these streaming protocols before you add this to the iNELS application. And of course, you should know the IP address and the username and password for all these cameras before adding. Yeah, so I will go a little more detail and show what are the parameters you need to know while adding these cameras. Okay, so in this slide, you can see the screen, how it shows when you take the settings in the application. So these are the columns which appear in the mobile application when you add the cameras. So if you are adding a new camera, then there will be an option in the application that add a new camera. Or if you already add one camera, and then you can see one plus icon on top of the application, and then you can add the cameras using that option as well. And the first column, it shows to enter camera name. So that is not particularly from the camera name. You can add any random name just for your identification. And then you have to select which streaming protocol you are using. So as I mentioned before, there are 4 different kind of streaming protocols you have. So if you use OnWIF, which is the universal streaming protocol, then in the video source, if you choose OnWIF, then automatically in the IP address column, it will give you a format how to add these credentials or the parameters. So if you select OnWIF, then automatically it appears there HTTP colon / and then you can enter the IP address of the camera there, and then enter the camera login username and password. That's it. Okay. If you enter this thing and if you add the camera, it will appear in the added devices. Okay. And if you want to see it overview or in all the time, then go to overview and add this camera there, so you can see all these cameras appear there. If it didn't happen, then go back to the camera settings and make sure that all these streaming protocols are enabled in the camera. So in between, I will show you how to add a Hikvision protocol and also how to set up OnWIF in the Hikvision camera. Okay, so these are the 4 types of protocols which we support. So if you use MJPEG, then this is the format. And for the MJPEG and RSTP, you can find these streaming link from the camera's user manual or from the web integration port or web configuration portal of the camera. Yeah, so you have to enter or you have to copy this streaming link from the camera IP camera's configuration page and copy it in the iNELS application so that it will be easily streamed there. Make sure that the IP address and everything is correct there. For the OnWIF, you have to create OnWIF a setup in the configuration page of the camera. I will show you in the later slide. And then you have to enter the IP address only in the iNELS application, and it will appear or it will be automatically added once you enter the username and password of the OnWIF credentials there. If it is a Hikvision protocol, then you don't need to do much modification. You can enter the IP address and the communication protocol 8000, then it will automatically added there. And for all these streaming protocol, you should know the username and password of the cameras. Otherwise, it will not show the video streaming properly. Okay, I will continue with the intercom, and then I will start showing or streaming the cameras, and then or else I can show you the streaming, how we can do the setup. Let me share it again. Please hold on. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Now I have login to the Hikvision camera. So you have to enter the IP and it will redirect you to the login page. So I am entering the username of Hikvision camera and then password. So once you enter the correct credential, it will enter to the login page. And if you are choosing the normal equation protocol, then you don't need to do any setup there. It can be added with the IP address, username, and password. If you are using the on-with protocol, because all the IP camera supports on-with protocol, so you have to go enter to the web configuration page, and then go to network and advanced settings. No, each cameras or each brands has different configuration page. You have to see the user manual and see where these on-with configuration is happening. So in the advanced setting, you can see integration protocol, and then you have to enable on-with protocol. And here I have already added it, so I can add one more, and then you can create one more username, that is iNELS, and then enter the password, confirm the password, and choose the administrator, and then click OK, and use the same credentials, this username and password, in the iNELS application. You don't, if you enter the camera's username and password, it will not work. So you have to enter the same username and password, on-with username and password, in the application. So this is the only settings you have to do in the camera, and then add these credentials in the mobile application, and you are done. So now we will continue with the presentation. So that is all about iNELS, how to add iNELS IP cameras. If you have any questions, then note it down and then ask me at the end. So I will now go to the intercom section. So as I mentioned before, we can add IP cameras and intercoms directly to the iNELS application. You don't need to you don't need to have any kind of third-party gateways to add this. You can simply add it directly to the iNELS application. So with this feature, the client or the user can have the feature like when any client press the outdoor unit of the intercom, and the iNELS application will receive the call with audio and with the video. So that is the main advantage of iNELS application, and you will get a call like a normal call which is happening in your mobile. So with the video, you can see the call, what is happening outside from the doorbell, and you can also unlock the door from your mobile application. So for this feature, it is very necessary to use SIP-enabled intercoms. So all the intercom bands which support SIP protocol can be integrated directly to the iNELS application. And so of course the communication protocol is SIP protocol, and it supports audio and video. And it is also necessary to have a SIP server running in your installation. So most of the intercom providers, they provide a SIP service with extra cost. And if you don't prefer that, you should have some kind of free or paid SIP server running in your installation. So it is very necessary to have this integration running in the mobile application. It can be okay. So if the server is in your local network, then you will receive the call only when your application is in the local network. If you need to have this call outside the network, then you need to use the cloud SIP server. And if you enter the credentials and everything in the iNELS application, even if you are outside the network, you will get the call. We also have a possibility to use a connection server, and there is a SIP asterisk running in the connection server, and you can also use that credentials, or you can use that SIP service exchange in the integration of intercom. And it is necessary to note down the username, SIP server name, passwords for adding this integration. Um, okay, and adding this intercom is also very simple. There are only four main steps which you need to follow, and that is very basic step. So the first one is you have to create SIP server. So that is prime important. So in the SIP server, you have to create contacts. So one contact for the intercom and one contact for the mobile application. That is the prime necessary step you have to do. Step 2, go to the intercom configuration page and add this contacts, that the contact which you created in the SIP server, and add this contact to the SIP configuration page in the intercom. So to get this configuration settings page, you have to go to the respective intercom brand you choose, and you have to follow the instruction how to add SIP service or SIP settings in the intercoms. And you have to enter all the you have to enter the account which is created in the intercom page, in the SIP server page, and enter it into the intercom configuration page, and then save it, and then go back to the iNELS application and enter the another account which you created for the application. So after entering that, save and check the connection. If it is communicating to the SIP server, if everything is okay, you can start using the service. I have a video which is showing how to add this integration in intercom. So I can show you it now. I hope it is clear. So this login page is the intercom page which you are seeing. And it is the SIP server page. And now it is showing how to add or create a contact for the intercom. So you need to have the phone number and the name and the type of the unit which is connecting. And then create it and add another for first we added for the phone, and second we are adding for the intercom. For this also you need to have the phone number and then create it. Okay, so now we have created two contacts, one for mobile application and one for the intercom. Now the next step is to go to the intercom configuration page, and then we need to add this contact in the SIP configuration tool. So I mentioned it before, we need to know the SIP server address, the username which is created there in the SIP server, and the password. So enter the created username and password and the calling number. The SIP server address can also be found from the SIP server configuration page. And the number settings can be added here. So each intercom has a different type of SIP configuration, and you have to see their manual how to add it. And also it is necessary to assign the button and which number should call when you assign that button. So there we need to call the mobile application. So when you press the button, it will go or it will redirect to the mobile contact number. So you have to enter that and then check if it is online or not. Then we have to go to the mobile application and then enter the same credentials here: SIP server address, SIP username, and password. And the unlock code, you have to, it is different for different manufacturer, and it can also be found from the user manual of the intercom. And enable all the settings, enable SIP and enable auto start. And you have to give permission in the iNELS application to make the call. Then only you will receive the call as a notification, and then save it. And make sure that it is already connected in the SIP server. If everything is okay and connected, and then you will receive a call if you press the button. Yeah, you will receive a call with audio and video, and you can answer the call, and then after answering the call, you can unlock the door. Okay, thank you. I hope you are clear with adding the intercom and IP cameras to the iNELS application. If you have any questions, then please ask it now. Okay, please ask your question. The presentation will be available somewhere. Sorry, the presentation is not available. If you can send me an email in support@inels.com, I can share it with you. But you will of course receive the video recording of this webinar. You're welcome. Thank you so much for attending today's webinar. I appreciate you take half hour out of your day in attending or spending time with iNELS, and I wish you a very good day. Thank you.